Welcome to Pomodoro Joe for Monday, April 10th, 2023. Today we're doing LeetCode problem 20, valid parentheses. This is an easy problem. Given a string S containing just the characters, and then you have open parenthesis, close parenthesis, open brace, close brace, and open bracket, close bracket. Determine if the input string is valid. An input string is valid if open brackets must be closed by the same type of bracket. Open brackets must be closed in the correct order, and every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. And then there's some examples. So if you're familiar with how braces, brackets, and parentheses work, this should be pretty straightforward. You understand what they're looking for. Now, this problem is a perfect opportunity to talk about stacks. A stack is a data structure that is just like what it sounds like. It's a stack of things. So the way I visualize it like a stack of books. You could think of it like a stack of cards, stack of coins, whatever you want, but I think of it like a stack of books. Now, if there's a book I want to read, I put it on top of the stack. Then when I'm ready to read a book, I grab the book on the top of the stack. When I finish that book, I can grab the next book from the top of the stack. A stack is a last in, first out data structure, meaning the last thing you put in the stack is the first thing you pull out of the stack. So in this case, you can think of it like putting a book or putting a coin, putting a card on top of a stack, and then taking it off the top of the stack. So a stack is just a great way to sort of remember what's that last thing I needed to do, so you can grab that out of the stack. So it's a sort of a temporary memory. All right, so let's put 25 minutes on a Pomodoro timer and we will get started. All right, so the stack has two basic operations. You have a push, which pushes something onto the stack, and you have a pop, which will pop something off the top of the stack. So in our case, we'll just go through our string, and anytime we find an open parentheses, brace, or bracket, we'll just put it on the stack, because we know at some point we'll have to close that open with a close bracket, parentheses, or brace. So we'll put our open parentheses on the stack. Then when we find a close, we'll just check to see if it matches the last open. And then we'll pop off the stack, and basically we'll just keep track of all the open parentheses and we'll close them out when we reach the close parentheses. All right, so let's get started. In Python, you can implement a simple stack using a list. So we'll have a stack here. And that's just going to be an empty list. Now, our two operations on a stack are push and pop. Now, on a list, you have append and pop. So push, well, that's going to be equal to append in this case. So we'll be appending something to the end of our list, which is the same as pushing something onto the top of our stack. And the other operation is pop. Lists do have a pop operation. So in this case, we'll be popping off the top of our stack, which means the end of our list. So we'll have to do a pop -1. Okay, so these are the list equivalents of our push and pop on a stack. So let's get started. So for every character in our string, we check to see if this character is one of the open brackets, parentheses, or brace. So let's see if C is in, and in this case, we can actually just do a string. We'll have an open brace, open bracket, and an open parenthesis. So if our character is one of the open brackets, we're going to push that onto our stack. So we push this onto the stack because we need to remember we had an open that we can later close. Okay, if it's not one of the open characters, then I think we can assume, let's just double check. Can we assume that it's a close? Yes, so S will consist of parentheses only. So if it's not one of the open ones, then we know it's one of the close parentheses, brackets, or braces. Now we don't know which one it is, so we'll have to check. Essentially, we're looking for if this character closes out the previous open character. Now the open character that came just before this will be at the top of our stack. So we can just say if C is equal to, and this is where we have to do a little bit of checking. So if we had a closed brace, if our C is the close of the brace, and our stack at the top, which is -1. In Python, you can do -1. In other languages, you'll have to find the length of your stack and find the index at the top. But in Python, we can just say, if C is the close brace and the stack is the open brace, well, then we found a matching pair. So we can just pop this character off the stack and move on. So we just say pop -1, so it pops off the top. All right, now we can check the others. Okay, what are the other options? So we have brace, we have a square bracket. All right, and finally we have parentheses. All right, so here's our basic start. We're going to go through every character in our string. If the character is one of the open braces, then we'll put that on our stack. If it's one of the closed braces, then we'll check to see if we have the matching open on the top of the stack. And if we do, we can pop that one off the top of the stack. Now we're looking for the next one on the stack. At some point, let's see, we might end up with we might have a problem here. A couple things that I can see that might happen. We might end up with a close without having a stack at all. So if our stack is empty, this might cause a problem. Let's just check to see. If we don't have a stack at all, then we can just return false. All right, got to take care of some of these edge cases. So if we have an open, we'll push it onto our stack. If we have a close, if we don't have a stack, that means that this is a mismatched parentheses or brace, and we've got to return false. Otherwise, we check for the matching one on the top of the stack. If it's there, we'll pop it off the stack. If it's not the matching one, then we'll return false. Now at the very end, let's see, we only need to return true if our stack is empty. If we still have things on the stack, we never closed out our last parentheses. So let's see, we'll return stack is equal to the empty list. So I think this should do it. Let's give it a shot. All right, and we pass, and let's submit this. And we passed, and we do okay. We beat 86% for runtime and 16% for memory, so that's not too bad. And 86% isn't bad, but I wanted to get above 90%, so at this point, I did try to rework the code to make it a little bit cleaner, make it a little bit more slim, but I thought it might help a little bit. But unfortunately, nothing I tried got us above 90%. So we're gonna stick with an 86% for my best score on this one. Check this one out, see if you can do better. All right, so getting above 90% is an exercise I'm leaving up to you. Hope you enjoyed this, hope you had fun, hope you learned something, hope you can go out and write better code.